On this week's episode of BJ in the Morning, we're going to talk about crazy, scary Reddit stories. Let's go. Welcome to BJ in the Morning. I'm Juan.
I'm Brendan.
And this is another scary episode of BJ in the Morning.
Spooky.
Spooky.
Now there's going to be double the amount of skeletons.
I feel like this is our favorite month for you and me.
I think I like everything about spooky season except for actual Halloween.
Yeah.
Right. Because I usually just work.
Mm-hmm.
We're too old to go trick or treating.
Says who?
Society. We live in a society.
I have a 4-year-old sister that I get to go trick or treating with.
True.
And last time I was dressed as Jon Snow last year.
Oh yeah.
And I took her trick or treating, and some of the kids were like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Jon Snow." And they're like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, You'll find out in
15 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
I worked last Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I dressed up.
That's lame.
If I did, I don't remember. I know the year before I dressed up as high school me. So I was wearing like a My Chemical Romance shirt. I had a beanie on, skinny jeans, some Vans.
It was like a very uncomfortable costume.
To be at work, yeah. We still had to wear masks at work then too, so I ordered a My Chemical Romance face mask.
Nice.
Just to really go for it. You know? I really don't remember what I did last year for Halloween. But maybe something will happen this year. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Do you have like costume plans this year?
I haven't thought too much about a costume.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like for Halloween, which is on a Tuesday, I think this year. My sister asked for me to be Mario.
That's cute.
But she wants to be Peach.
Aw.
But, for like if I'm going to like a costume party or anything like that, I've been invited to one, and he said he thinks he wants to do a Purge theme, so I might have to find a Purge costume.
Okay.
And then for like anything else, I don't know. My original plan was maybe like Ace Ventura, but like in the tutu when he's going to the insane asylum or whatever.
That'd be really funny.
But I don't really know what else. Like, I get so stumped because I'm like, I want to do this, but then it's like way too crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, let's tone it back a little bit, and then I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I get that. I always think of like really crazy things that I just can't accomplish in time. Like I know one year I was trying to do like Thor when he's all like chunky and drunk, and I had most of it put together, and I put it on, and I didn't buy a wig, and I should have bought a wig, because I looked at it and I was just like, I hate it. I don't like it.
I hate it.
It just looks like I'm being lazy. And then we've done a lot of cosplays for like Comic-Con and everything, and I'm pretty good at piecing things together like really quickly.
Yeah.
But like this year, I don't know, since it's a Tuesday, I know everyone at my job's trying to request off, which means I'm probably going to work 8:30 in the morning until midnight, Yeah. I don't know what sounds comfortable to do that in. So I'm going to figure it out. My original idea was Peter B. Parker in the first Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really funny.
I've always wanted to do that at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But then like recently I saw a lot of people do that, and I was like, oh, it's not original anymore.
Nothing's original anymore.
Ugh.
But that's when you can just make your own Spider-Man from the Spider-Verse,
Right.
Any way you want to.
Right.
But we're not talking about costumes this episode.
No, we're not.
We're gonna read some scary stories that we found on Reddit.
And I feel like I've done this before, but we've done this before.
Yeah.
But I mean, who doesn't like a good scary Reddit read.
No, and I think we read like AI generated ones before. I don't know if we read like specifically Reddit scary stories.
I think we did.
But no one listened to that episode.
Nobody cares.
Everyone's gonna listen to this episode.
Exactly.
So we have
New and improved.
Yeah, right, and spooky set.
And
spooky. I'll just more and more skeletons are dancing on the screen.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. That's all I got.
I thought it was shin, but you know.
And shivers down your shin?
Yeah, just one shin. But we have a handful of stories picked up or pulled up from Reddit. We've read a couple of them, and now we're gonna read them to you. And I think the way that we're gonna discuss these stories, some of them are shorter, some of them are a little bit on the medium size.
Yep.
But we're also gonna discuss if we think they're scary. If these would scare us if they happen to us, because apparently at least most of my stories are true in big like quotes.
Right.
True stories. So like, do you think they're actually true? Are they scary? I don't know. We'll decide.
One thing I have to ask, not as much, or not ask, request. Maybe while we're reading, not so much interrupting. It's going to be very hard for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when I think something, I just got to blurt it out. But let's try to get through the story without too many interruptions.
Yeah, unless you're reading. If you need to say something, that's on you. It's your time to talk.
Right. You got the speaking candle.
The speaking candle. So should we just jump right into this?
Yeah, you can go first. You got the speaking
candle. Do I need to slide it back to you when I'm done?
Yeah.
Shit.
Don't forget.
I'm gonna forget. One of us is gonna forget.
Don't forget.
All right. So this is a story from user Bad Mama Jamma.
Bad Mama Jamma.
You're already breaking the rule.
Oh, sorry. Shit.
No, we're not in the story just yet. But they posted about a time they were working the night shift in a long-term care home.
Okay.
And this is from the subreddit r/ghost stories. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. One night, a resident's bell rang at 2:59 a.m. When the user entered the room, the patient asked that they remove the dark figure without a face that was hiding in her bathroom. Shaken, they assured the resident they had done so and returned to their desk. Not 10 minutes later, another resident's bell rang on the opposite end of the floor. Upon entering, the patient said, "There's a creepy man in my room with no face. You need to get him out." Once again, returning to their desk, terrified, the care specialist asked that a nurse stay with them the rest of their shift.
Thanks.
It's in the middle now, so we can discuss the story. Yeah.
A shadow?
A shadowy figure without a face.
With no face.
I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the first one, yeah, you're just like, they were having a dream. You know, they were having a nightmare.
Yeah, we took care of it, man.
Yeah, you're all good. But then the second, on a opposite side of the facility, same description, like, no.
And then they're requesting someone to stay with them.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks. Nose goes.
Yeah, right. I don't think I'd be able to handle that. Yeah. I think I'd probably leave.
Yeah.
I'd probably just like, I'm sick.
Pretty spooky, dude.
But do you think this is real? Like the plausibility of this is,
I mean, it's definitely spooky.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. Like that kind of brings up the question of, are ghosts real? Are spirits real? Are demons real and all that stuff?
Right. And that's not what we're talking about on this episode.
No, it's not.
We're just gonna I'm just kidding.
But still, it's like, whether I think it's real, if that happened to me, if I was working there, I would not want to go. I would definitely be fucking terrified.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the Like maybe they were both watching something, these two residents during the day.
Mm-hmm.
They had the same kind of dream. That could be like a good explanation of why it happened. Um, but dark figure. One said dark figure with a face without a face, and one said a man without a face. So it's like, it's a little scary. Not gonna lie, it would trip me up.
Right. All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, take the candle.
All right, party time. My great aunt woke up in the middle of the night. She heard her dog making these low growls. She was single at the time and living alone in her ranch-style home. She walked out of her living room to check things out. She didn't see or hear anything out of the ordinary, so she decided to make sure her door and front windows were locked. The door was locked. First window she checked was locked. When she lifted the mini blind on the second window, it was wide open. A guy in a ski mask was standing there. She said he laughed this evil laugh and said, "Party time." Then he started to climb in. She screamed that she had a gun and her dog started barking his head off. The would-be, our word, decided to bolt, and my aunt did get a gun after that and learned how to use it. Do you believe in that?
You gotta move the candle first, back in the middle, so I can talk. Right, that's the rule.
Do you believe in that?
Do I believe in what?
I'm just kidding.
It sounds like a home invasion, right?
That is, but still,
no, it's
pretty scary.
I don't know how I would react to that because
And just imagine though.
Yeah.
Imagine just opening the window or seeing the window open and the guy's just like, "Party time."
That's fucked.
Did I say that creepy enough?
Do it again.
Party time.
Now a little sillier.
Party time.
Think like Jim Carrey.
Party time.
There we go. See that? Fun. I'd be like, yeah, we're about to party.
Fuck yeah, come on in, brother.
I got a 6-pack in the fridge. No, but like if someone just, I don't know, if anyone broke into your house, even if they were Jim Carrey saying party time, like
party
that,
time.
I think I would be more afraid if it was like that, to be honest.
Somebody stop me.
There's no one here. But
I got a gun.
It does sound like they got a gun. They learned how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're more protected now. So if it ever happens again,
right.
They're ready to go, ready to party.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't. It sounds real. It sounds believable.
Mm-hmm.
I would be terrified.
Yeah, me too.
I've never had that incident happen.
Me either. Hopefully never.
Hopefully never. Have I ever told you about the apartment that I lived in by myself? The first one I lived in by myself?
Don't think so.
About how there was one day I was just like working on an essay and I was like in my own zone, couple hours, not really paying attention to what's going on. And I kept hearing things in the apartment above me. And I was like, wow, they're really being annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to get this essay done. And I just kept chugging along. And then someone sent me a picture, like an article, like, the news is always crazy, especially where I was living. 'Cause small town. And someone was like, isn't this your apartment? And I could clearly see my door, my window, I could see like the blinds were cocked a specific way. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the article was saying that like cops had been called to a homicide that had happened in the apartment above mine. And that's the closest to that situation that I've ever gotten.
Oh my God.
And it just made me more paranoid, I guess.
Did you know your neighbor?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, someone, it was, drug related.
I don't think I have that one queued up, but I did find a story.
Mm-hmm.
No, I decided to not go with that one, but there was a story similar to that I read.
Yeah.
That they're this couple was getting investigated by the FBI, and apparently their neighbor, who they were friends with, or not really friends with, but acquainted with, um, had committed a murder and left the murder weapon in the trash can in a bag with his mail. So I mean, like, obviously, like,
Yeah.
who put it there? You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And then apparently the guy went in his backyard and freaking like
Yeah.
did it to himself
Yeah.
also.
So
You know what I
unalive
mean?
himself.
Unalived himself.
Yeah.
And it was just weird that you brought that up too, because it was like similar way it happened. Like they saw like a news story before the FBI came to their house, and it
Yeah.
was like their house next to another house. And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just like
It's kind of scary, like that.
mm-hmm.
Just shit like that goes down,
Yeah.
Um. But anyways, that
That's
was
weird.
my scary story.
Right.
Let's go ahead and I'll take the candle. Uh, I'm gonna tell you about little kids running around in the ICU. That's what this one is titled. So this one's from Reddit user Dr. Yared.
Mm-hmm.
They post.
Yared.
That's what it says. I don't
Okay.
know. It looks like Jared but with a Y.
Mm.
So I'm gonna go with Yared because yard sounds weird.
Yeah.
That's not how you spell yard.
Right.
But this is from r/paranormal from February.
Okay.
So the doctor described a particular phenomenon that occurs toward the end of many patients' lives when they see small children running around their bed and outside the door. The doctor explains that this is more common in an ICU, but that the pattern is very recognizable and the experience is very similar across all cultural backgrounds and ages. Experienced doctors and nurses are used to reports like these from their patients and learn to expect their passing when they hear this. The post concluded by saying, "So if you're doing rounds in the ICU late at night and hear some snickering or tiny feet running in the hallways, prepare, because the call of code green or code red is about to sound off in the PA system." Even creepier are the scores of comments from healthcare workers beneath the posts that confirmed their similar experiences with the phenomenon.
Oh.
It's in the middle. You can talk. So yeah, all the comments on this post were other. I mean, supposedly, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we have to take this with a grain of salt all the time because it is the internet.
Yeah.
But everyone was saying they were doctors and nurses and things like that, saying that it is similar. Like they see similar things or hear similar things.
Yeah.
Patients are talking about little kids running around. And by kids, it's in like, you know, quotes.
Quotes.
Because
But
it
I
might not be
mean,
kids.
I feel like any like ghost story that you hear that involves like kid spirits is like, I feel like that is the most popular
Mm-hmm.
of the rest of them, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you really think about it, it's more like, are are kids able to move on? Have they lived long enough to be ready
I
to move on?
so I
You know
guess
what I'm
like
saying?
I see what you're saying, but on the other hand, I think about like a lot of like biblical paintings and things like that from the past. They portray like angels as kids, like
Mm-hmm.
cherubs, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
those that kind of thing. So maybe that has some kind of significance. Maybe they're related in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but not everyone could be waiting for angels, too. Like
Right.
if you believe in all that stuff. Because like I'm not 100% religious or not religious. Like I haven't, you know what I mean? Like we don't need to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I believe what I want to believe, and I don't know if I could follow that.
Yeah.
Um, but also like I don't know, paranormal stuff kind of blankets everything.
Yeah.
There's an explanation for everything, and then sometimes there's not, right? And I think that's just how science works. Like when it gets involved into paranormal activities and stuff. Um, I don't know. Maybe there is an explanation. Maybe it is true. I
wish
know
we
some
could know
doctors.
more.
I know some doctors. I know some nurses.
Yeah.
We should maybe probe them in the future and just ask them some questions.
I wish we could get into it and like actually get some answers, you know?
So if you know anyone out there in the world,
Any paranormal
investigators,
paranormal investigators?
paranormal investigators, let us know. We would love to ask them some questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm still on the fence 50-50 with paranormal encounters. Like, I want to believe there's crazy shit out there. I want to believe there's something else. So my stories in the past and weird things I've seen, I don't know. I don't know if I trust my own brain sometimes, right?
Right.
My brain tells me I'm sad when nothing is making me sad. So
Right.
But yeah, if you know any paranormal investigators, we would love to talk to them.
Paranormal.
Parallelogram. You can take it. Yeah, it's all you.
My next one is really short. From 2-Sentence Horror, Reddit feed. And it's called, it said, I told my therapist I watched a girl drown when I was 15. I could have saved her, but I was too scared. I know, she said, as she got up to lock the door. That was my daughter. What happened? What happened?
I mean, we've seen this.
Tell me more.
We've seen this in movies. I think that's the fun part of two-sentence horror, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get to make up what's next, right?
Yeah.
What do you think happened next? That bitch dead. He died.
But someone had to have written it.
The ghost.
The ghost living in my tablet, dude.
The ghost living in your tablet. No, I love two-sentence horror. It's really cool that, I don't know if you ever heard about it in like high school, but the like shortest horror story ever written is 2 sentences, and it's like really popular. And the story is, it's really simple. You want me to tell it?
Do you know it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need to move the candle.
Okay.
But it's, the last man on earth sat alone in a room. There was a knock at the door. That's it. That's the whole story. So the last man on earth sat alone in a room. Period. There was a knock at the door.
That's pretty crazy.
Like, who would be knocking if you're the last person on earth?
Right.
If you know there's no one else. Right? So I love two-sentence horror stories. It reminds me of those Vines. Do you remember the like 7-second movies that we used to watch on Vine all the time? I love those. So those are really fun. Anyways, yeah, I think it's really cool to think about what could happen next, right? And
so what happened next?
Well, it sounds like
she locked the door.
That
was my daughter.
You bitch.
She's gonna freaking pull out a bat.
It's a revenge story. Yeah.
She's gonna hit her on the top of the head.
How many sessions did they have together until they got to this point?
Oof.
Did the therapist know it was him before he said it?
Oof.
There's a lot of backstory that we need.
Maybe the therapist seeked him out.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know, but it definitely is a good setup for a horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this therapist is out for blood.
I know. It was my daughter.
Done. You're dunzos. Right after
Dunzos.
that. Dunzos. But yeah.
What's the next one?
I'm gonna take this. Little candle. We haven't forgotten yet. So this chilling story was posted on r/paranormal encounters by user Chocolated Cutie.
Ooh.
In July of 2021. So the user owned an original Furby when they were younger, and 10 years later, they found it in their father's attic. At this point, it was pretty worn down. The plastic rubber on the nose was gone, and its fur was matted. And they put it down and continued looking for what they originally needed in the attic. As they walked away, the Furby started to make odd, distorted sounds. The voice was sketchy and unsettling, but they didn't think much of it. The toy was 10 years old and it had been moved and bumped around a lot. After it continued to make sounds, they walk over to it and discover that there weren't any batteries. In fact, they realized it hadn't had batteries for 7 or 8 years, which sent them running out of the attic, never to return.
With
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Sorry,
It's in the middle. We're good.
with no battery.
Yeah. So,
Oh my god.
did you have like stuffed animals as a kid that would make noises and stuff like randomly, like if their batteries were starting to die, things like that?
Mm-hmm.
I still remember this night very vividly in my brain. I had like it was like a hammock that attached to the corner of a room, like way up in the top. That had all my
Mhm.
stuffed animals. And I had a couple of the 101 Dalmatians, and they would make noise. They would talk and bark and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I loved those Dalmatians. And one night I could just hear the like it definitely sounded like batteries were dying and they were trying to make the barking sounds, but it was like like that kind of thing. And I remember taking it down and trying to take the batteries out.
Yeah.
And when I'm a kid, by the way, right? Like I don't know how electronics work. I just know that batteries make things work. So I'm taking the batteries out and one of the wires rips and it starts sparking.
Oh,
And in my head, I'm like, holy shit, you know?
that's safe.
But it's like the thing started smoking. It was crazy, but bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. The candle's in the middle still. You can sneeze.
It started smoking?
Yeah, like it was making contact, like the wire with the battery pack, right? So it was like arcing and causing smoke. And this is in the middle of the night, you know? Like I'm scared because this thing was making noise by itself.
How old were you at this time?
I didn't live here yet in Arizona, so I was probably under the age of like 8.
Yeah.
So yeah. Spooky toys. I've heard a lot of Furby stories in my day.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have.
Furbies are pretty creepy, dude.
Furbies were on next level shit. So I wouldn't put it past that there was something going on with it. But I never owned a Furby.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah? Was
I
it
had
spooky?
a couple, I think. It was pretty spooky, dude. I mean, I loved them. I loved having a Furby.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really think it was spooky, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. Furbies. What's your next story?
Okay. There was one specifically that I was really trying to find, but I'm like, was it on the one I decided not to go with? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
It's totally fine. I can read the next one while you look.
Go ahead.
If you want, just to make sure we're not like leaving any dead air.
Sure.
While you're looking, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna tell you the story of Banana Bread Man 00. So he shared an interesting family ghost story on r/ghost stories in June of 2022. At the time, he was 12 years old and jumping on a trampoline in his backyard. He could see his upstairs bedroom window and a woman in a white dress waving at him from his adjoining bathroom window. Thinking it was his mom, he went inside and discovered that his mom was not home. When she returned home later from running errands, he described seeing the woman in white in his bathroom. Because he was growing up in the same house as his mother, She admitted that she has also seen that woman twice. She has seen the woman twice when she was younger. So had his grandmother. And he goes on to say that it still bothers him, and now he sleeps in the room. It still bothers him because he sleeps in the room with that bathroom. And you can see the same window from where he is while he was writing the story. So he's always constantly thinking about the woman in white that he saw.
How come they're always in white?
So I think white is a really common like color of furniture and like curtains and things like that, you know, like maybe when your eyes play tricks on you, it's probably through curtains like that, especially in a bathroom window.
Yeah.
I don't know. It said it was from 2012. So it's not like
the newest
but
story
it's
or
also
whatever.
not like an old story, but it was the house that his mother grew up in. Right? So it's probably an older house.
Yeah.
Bathrooms a lot of the times had white tile in them, right? If we're just banking on like the woman in white, right? I don't know. Again, like I said, I've seen weird things out of like the corner of my eye where I thought it was a person or something, and it turns out it wasn't. It's hard to believe sometimes that there might be like other worldly things going on. But if your mother saw them and your grandmother saw them, and if it's in the same window,
Yeah.
I feel like it's something to do with the window itself. You know what I mean? Debunking this fucking story right now.
Right.
But if you clearly saw someone wave at you, like clearly, you know, it wasn't just like I think I saw it. That would be really freaking terrifying. I get terrified when I see like the like homeless drug addicts on the street waving at me sometimes.
Yeah, especially when they're just looking at you.
Especially on River and Stone.
Yeah. They're just looking straight at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude.
And again, going back, because I've said this on the podcast, it's like that old lady from what's that one movie? The Leonardo DiCaprio one, Shutter Island.
Oh,
the old lady turns around, she's like, shh. Sometimes that's the feel, that's the vibe. Did you find your story though, sir?
Give me money.
I don't know. I barely have money.
I honestly can't find the one that I just thought of, and I thought I had it pulled up, but I'll just go to a different one.
Awesome. I have one more story in the list, so.
Okay. Because like there was something you said that made me think of it, and I was like, oh, let's read that one next, and it's not there.
And it's gone.
It's spooky. All right.
Can you tell this is our spooky episodes? For how many times we say spooky. Do you need a candle?
This one, oh, right.
I was just going to keep talking until.
This one's called The Writing on the Wall. A young boy lay sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside of his room. He peeked out of his eye. What the fuck? He peeked out of his eyes to see what was happening when his door swung open to reveal a murderer crying corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he wrote something on the wall in blood of the dead bodies. He then hid under his child's bed. The child got scared beyond belief. He couldn't read the writing on the wall, and he knew the man was under his bed. Like any child, he pretended that he slept through the whole thing and hadn't woken up yet. He lay still as the bodies quietly, hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour passed, and his eyes got adjusted to the darkness. He tried making out the words, but it was a struggle. He gasped when he finally read out the sentence. I know you're awake, he read as he felt something shift underneath his bed. So that was written very poorly. That wasn't me being a fucking idiot this time. So let's try to break this down real quick. A young boy sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside his room. He peeked out of his eyes.
Yeah, so his eyes were closed and he went like this. Just like a little peek.
Peeked out of his eyes to see what was happening when the door swung open to reveal a murderer. I said crying. I did read it.
Yeah,
I did
you read
read
that
it
one wrong.
Carrying corpses of his parents. Oh, sleepy. Scary.
Spooky.
I can't even say the right words that I'm thinking. Oh shit. That's like a story.
Yeah.
Probably not a true story, but it's a pretty scary story.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty terrifying. Leaving bloody messages on the wall.
I know you're awake. I know you're awake. It's party time.
Could be. I don't think it's true or a real story. I do think it's just a scary story. But then again, I have the true stories. You have the scary stories.
So real quick, the one I was talking about, the one I wanted to find, it was basically a lady and her husband bought a house and they had some pretty ugly wallpaper on the wall and they wanted to take it off. And they started peeling it off and behind the wallpaper they started seeing names and dates. And she found a couple names and dates. And so she very curiously Googled the names, and apparently those were names of missing people, and the dates correlate with the time that they went missing.
Shit.
And there was like almost the whole wall was full of names.
Can you imagine like that situation? You're peeling off the paper and you're seeing all these names and everything. And then you come across some dates in the future with your name on it.
That'd be crazy.
And then you got to be like, what is the dates? Why does this?
We should make that a movie.
You can unravel the whole thing where it's like, yeah, this is a missing people's dates. And then you got to be like, why am I going to go missing? What's going to make me go missing? But then you just find out it's a prequel to Monster House. I'm just kidding. But everything else that I said,
we should make that.
I'll cut it out of the episode. I'm just kidding. We're putting it down. It's going to be on the internet, so no one can steal the idea.
Right.
Because all Hollywood wants is the same thing again, but different.
Right.
And plus, we don't want to work for Hollywood. At least they're paying their people now.
Right. Are they?
Yeah.
Is that official?
Yeah, they figured it all out, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, thank God. Pay your people. AI is not taking over the world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You got another one before I do my last one?
Sure.
Cool. You want here, I'll give you that.
Thank you. This next one is called Blurry. I got my first pair of glasses last week. My parents didn't think I needed them at first, but the doctor said that there was something wrong with me more than just my eyes that was apparently pretty common, and that I needed specially prescribed glasses for my own good. He said that many people were never given the chance to see the way I would, so I was lucky to get them. I thought he meant cars and faraway words would become less blurry, but over the span of a couple days, many more things have become more clear. I started seeing nightmare creatures all around. I had never seen them before, like in the corners of my room and in darkened parking lots. I took my glasses off for the first time today, and let me just say it's amazing how quickly demons and creatures turn into trees and shadows. I know I'm not seeing the truth, but I'm a simple person. I'd rather remain things blurry just the way it is for everyone else.
I'm taking the candle very seriously.
Right?
Yeah, so when you first started reading that one, that's what I thought of. Like, I thought ahead and was like, oh, it'd be really crazy if this and this and this happened, right? Um, have you ever seen the movie They Live or heard of it? Where the guy gets like special glasses that help him see the aliens that have taken over the world.
No.
Without them, they just look like normal people. Fucking crazy. I'll have to show you like a clip from it. That's where the like quote, "I came here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of gum." That came from that movie. But
it
very
came from They Live.
Yeah.
Isn't that old? Is
yeah.
it old?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
about aliens?
Yeah, I'll show you a clip. I'll show you a clip later.
I'm all out of bubble gum.
I'm all out of gum.
Is that Eastwood?
No.
Oh.
Any other questions about this old movie? About aliens?
John Wayne?
No.
Oh.
But could you imagine that situation? Like, imagine after you got your LASIK. Did you get LASIK? Right? That's what it's called. I don't know if that's like a brand name.
LASIK.
But just imagine like coming out of it and now you can see like fucked up shit, like paranormal shit like that.
But I can't take them off.
Yeah. You with your robot eyes.
It's party time.
It's party time.
Spooky.
That would be fucking crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
I
mean, so okay. So just imagine like the doctor and was like what does he say exactly? He says
you're gonna see like no one else has seen before.
No. He said many people were never given the chance to see the way I would. I was so lucky to get them. So imagine he's like, oh, you're so lucky. And he put these glasses on, knowing what he's doing to you.
Like, does the doctor see this shit? And he's like trying to get the world to see all this stuff too? These are the questions that go unanswered. But yeah, that would be pretty terrifying, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to handle that. But then you start questioning if your brain is working anymore.
Right. I have one more really long one.
Okay.
So do you want to read yours first?
I can. I'll read it real quick right here, right now.
Okay.
Thank you. So user excellent reach 6641 posted this real life nightmare fuel on the r/ghost story subreddit. While babysitting his niece, he drifted off while studying and watching her from the baby camera monitor. He was awakened by the sound of whispering coming from the monitor and immediately noticed that the video on the monitor showed a dark figure in the corner of his niece's room near her crib. As he wrote, I have never felt more terrified in my life. He ran into his niece's room and didn't see the shadowy figure, but grabbed her and ran back to the living room. When his brother returned, he asked that he not tell his wife and confirmed that he had also seen the same shadow figure and heard the whispers near the crib. They continued to live in the house for another 4 years, despite the fact that the little girl frequently talked about her special friend.
Dang.
So the dad knew about it. The brother seen it too.
Yeah.
The ghosts. That baby monitors are kind of scary. Because they're always like night vision, right? It always makes things look fucked up.
It's a little like
grainy.
Staticky, grainy.
So yeah, you see anything like that or hear whispers, it's gonna be scary. The only way that I could say like it's not that bad It's like some of those might be like using radio waves to communicate, and you might be picking up like sounds from other people. Maybe I don't know if they work like walkie talkies do. Like my brain says they at least used to.
Yeah.
Right.
Radio
Like that.
frequency.
Yeah. So maybe there's some distortion there, but the video part, I don't know. Cameras manipulate the way we see things sometimes. In low light situations, especially. Sometimes the artifacts that you see in the dark video, the graininess, could look like other things.
And the cinnamon and nutmeg and all that other stuff.
What? Cinnamon and nutmeg. Pumpkin spice?
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
I don't know, just the pacing of how you were describing it, just
And
kind
the
of
cinnamon and nutmeg.
the cinnamon and nutmeg.
But those are all of my true scary ghost stories that I pulled up.
Okay, I got one
But
more.
like, do you believe that could happen?
I do. I believe anything can happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
TBH.
But
it's hard. Like, I believe it could happen.
TBH.
But
TBH.
But TBH, I don't believe that it did happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I can't believe, and I feel like I am obligated to be skeptical.
TBH.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. TBH. A lot of weird things happen when you're sleepy and like trying to do a bunch of things while you should be sleeping.
Right.
And like, if you fall asleep, like TBH, you could be just seeing things. You could be seeing things that aren't there.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they're not scary AF.
Right. Or TBH. You could be, this could have just never happened at all.
And you just wanted the clout.
TBH, you just wanted the attention and the clout and put it online.
And TBH, kind of shitty.
TBH, though, don't really care.
People have done worse, TBH. People have said worse on the internet just for clout, TBH.
And TBH, we had fun reading it.
TBH, it is a good spooky story, TBH. Let's get this last one in for you.
Okay. I said it was super long, but it's not as long as I thought it was.
Okay.
I mean, it's still pretty long.
Sit back.
And don't fall asleep.
Oh, sorry. I fell asleep for a second while you took the candle away. You're good. Take it.
I thought you were going to do it again. Okay.
Sorry, my bad, dude.
Hey.
I'll stay awake.
All right.
Okay.
All right. This one was from the No Sleep Reddit feed. From someone named Thai_pod. I wonder if they like eating Tide Pods. Tide Pods. All right. TBH, my boyfriend is telling me to come outside and he isn't here. My boyfriend works late hours, and when I know he's on his way to my house, I'll sit and wait for him in the kitchen to greet him. The main door is in front of me, while the back porch door is behind me. He tends to come through that one so that my dog doesn't bark. He called me a few minutes ago, and he said he just left work and he's on his way. So I did my normal and sat at the kitchen table, scrolling on my phone until I got the "I'm outside" text. A few minutes of scrolling, I heard his voice. The only light outside of my house was the porch light, so I look out of the kitchen window and nobody's there. Baby, come outside. Normally, his voice is reassuring and welcoming, but I had a terrible feeling and decided to call his cell phone. His phone is a track phone that he buys service for, so sometimes it simply rings twice, which is what it did every time I called. Eventually, I gave up and stepped into the back porch to look outside. Maybe his phone died and he needed me to unlock the door for him. I could feel my heart drop when I remembered the door was unlocked. I start to text him, asking him to answer his phone. But while I'm doing this, the voice turns from a gentle tone to an angry one. It yelled my full name and told me to come outside. My boyfriend never calls me by my full name, and at this point, I'm starting to feel scared. I looked outside, and it now knows I'm not in the kitchen, and that I looked out of the back porch window. I call him again. After what felt like hours, he answered in a concerned way, apologizing because his phone was on vibrate, as well as it is not working. Why are you telling me to come outside? Those were the first words I said. There was an immediate silence over the line. What do you mean? I'm just now on your road. He sounded worried, but I could tell he thought I was pranking him. The voice was getting angrier by the second. It cussed at me and eventually started banging on the door. It was so loud that even my boyfriend could hear it through the phone. I heard the car speed up, and then the sound of gravel of him pulling into my driveway. I finally mustered up the courage to move the curtain and see what if there was anyone really there. There was nothing there, but I could see him running up the stairs to get me. Once he got in, the voice and the banging came to a complete stop. I stood shaken while he looked around my yard, only to see a deer running away on its hind leg. Just for the front two to hit the ground in front as it went to the nearby woods. We didn't sleep much that night and eventually planned on moving somewhere that's closer to the city, as close as I'm done.
First off, picture a deer running on its hind legs. It looks like the dumbest shit you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Like, with its weird ass legs.
Yeah.
Weird. Second, skinwalker.
Yeah, that's what some of the comments say here. Definitely a skinwalker. It's a good thing your instincts are sharp. I'd move on. I'd move as soon as possible. I might try to come back.
Especially if it knows your name.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, have you seen those videos? Somebody walking in the woods is like, "Hey, help!"
There was a video I saw recently. It was a guy riding his like dirt bike in the woods, and he like kept coming. Like he would go further and further into the woods, and he found like this trail that just kind of ended.
Yeah.
But he kept going, and then he kept hearing someone yelling, not like screaming, but yelling. You know, like loudly trying to get someone's attention, and the way he reacts and then the way it sounds in his like helmet cam, nope. That's the kind of shit that does freak me out, like very quickly, you know?
Yeah.
I think I've told the story before about like how we used to walk around in the desert in the middle of the night. You know, it would just be really dark outside and we would just be out there with cameras and like kind of messing around, having fun, right? Like, and there was that one time I don't think you were with us this time, where that we heard someone screaming.
Yeah, you brought that up last time, and I was not with you.
Yeah, so like that shit's scary. Like when you hear those kind of things, and like thinking back on it now, it was probably like a javelina or like a coyote, like you know something like that. It's
Or
explainable.
Beaver.
A what?
A beaver.
We don't have beaver.
Have you seen that video of the beaver on the mountain? He's like,
no, but now I want to.
You haven't seen that?
No. I
don't know if it's real, but I'm assuming
it sounds great.
I'll show it to you right now.
It sounds like a palate cleanser after this episode. But it'd be cool to know if anyone who's listening has ever experienced anything paranormal or scary or
paranormal.
Parallelogram. But yeah, if you've experienced anything spooky, scary, skeleton-wise,
Spooky.
you just really want me to put that effect on your voice
It's
from the
just-
last episode,
It's
right?
just more and more and more.
Just
the whole
the whole thing is
screen,
skeletons.
You can't even see spooky anymore. It's just
Oh, it's gonna be fun to have to go through all this like 7 times. But yeah, if you've had any crazy, spooky, scary encounters,
right.
let us know.
Yeah.
Send us a message over on like Instagram at
BJ in the morning _,
or you can send us a message on TikTok at
BJ in the morning _.
We still haven't gone live on Twitch, but we will be going live on Twitch, and you can find that at
BJ in the morning _.
And then if you're watching over here on YouTube, go ahead and just hit that like button.
Hit the like button.
Hit the subscribe button.
Hit
but
that subscribe
also hit that bell icon.
Hit that bell. Ring the
Get
bell.
those notifications when we put up videos.
I didn't hear no bell.
We're doing this
We're
again.
gonna do that again. Jesus.
Not only are we reusing ideas we did 6 months ago, but now we're reusing jokes from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Not bad. These stories were fun. They're interesting. I love hearing all these spooky stories. I want to hear more. So let us know on all our social medias.
If you got any that you've been through, any crazy ones that you've read, send them our way.
Heck yeah. And thanks for listening to BJ in the Morning.
I'm Juan.
I'm Brendan.
And look at my cool shirt.
That is a cool shirt.
Talk to you next time.